yan. For the benefit yan sa mga hindi maka-join, kailangan i-record yung meeting. Notify nyo yung iba. So, balikan natin yung kanina. So, why is research important? Research is needed in the formulation of the coronavirus vaccine because research is applied in order to improve the lives of people, as I have mentioned earlier. So, pag may problem, scientists are conducting research in order to resolve the problem. Like nowadays, merong coronavirus. So scientists all over the world are racing to find a cure or a vaccine for this virus in order to solve the problem. So let us begin with our first activity today. We have a timeline from the prehistoric era and up to the future. So I want you to line up or match the following discoveries into the appropriate line. Sulat niyo lang sa scratch paper and we will check your work later. So, meron pa? Sige. Have here animal husbandry. Kailan kaya na-discover ang animal husbandry? Sulat niyo sa chat box ang answer. Kailan na-discover ang animal husbandry? So, animal husbandry is sometimes called domestication of animals. So, sa tingin ninyo, kailan na domesticate yung mga alaga nating hayop dyan sa backyard, bahay? Kailan kaya? Was it on prehistoric era, ancient, or future era na tayo nagkaroon ng alagang hayop? Kailan kaya? Just a wild guess. Isulat niyo sa piece of paper yung animal husbandry discover. Next is antibiotics. Kailan siya na-discover? And so on and so forth. Patuloy niyo siya ng pag-answer. I'll give you 5 minutes, so pag 7:25, we will see if your answers are correct. Bale, ang animal, let's check this as we, na lang, para mabilis. Animal husbandry, na-discover siya prehistoric era. Kasi noong unang panahon, ang mga ninuno natin ay mga nomadic pastoralism. So, meron silang mga hayop na dala-dala habang nag-migrate sila. So, by that time, na-discover na yung animal husbandry. Next is antibiotics. Pag gusto niyo sumagot, magpaalam lang kayo sa mic na, sir, gano'n. And then, I will recognize you. Okay, medyo mingaw ang klase natin pag walang nagsasalita. Kailan na-discover ang antibiotics? Was it Renaissance, Industrial, or Modern era? Ang correct answer is Modern era. So World War II yan dyan na-discover. Alam nyo, bago na-discover yung antibiotics, mahirap magkaroon ng operation. Kasi may danger na magkaroon ng bacterial infection. So, nung nagkaroon na ng antibiotics, it was a major breakthrough. Sino yung nakadiscover ng antibiotics? The first antibiotic. Sino kaya? Who discovered the first antibiotic? Is also known as an accidental discovery kasi natapon lang yung something sa something tapos boom, may
Sir,
antibiotics na.
sir.
Sino? Sige,
Alexander
answer.
Fleming, sir.
Very good. Siya yung nakadiscover ng antibiotics. Sige, next. Ano tayo? Next discovery. Hunting and foraging. Kailan ito na-discover? Actually, ano na ito eh. Parang given na ito, prehistoric era ito siya. Kasi noong unang panahon, nagugutom yung mga tao, hindi pa sila marunong magtanim. Nag-hunting lang sila ng mga wild animals and they are foraging for food in the wild also. How about computers? When did humans discover or use computers? Sagot is modern era. Next is currency. When did humans first start using money? Yes, ancient era ang correct answer. The first money na ginagamit noong unang panahon is mga precious stones, shells, ano pa, mga buto ng hayop, flowers, etc. Discovered fire. When? Kailan na-discover ang fire? Prehistoric era. Yes. So, short story lang dyan sa discovered fire. Yung popular folklore niyan, meron daw kahoy na tinamaan ng kidlat. And voila, they discovered fire. Electricity. When did we discover electricity? Ang story ng pag-discover ng electricity, di ba, may thunderstorm, tapos may nag-kite habang umuulan. Di ba yun yung story ng pagka-discover ng electricity?
Ambot, sir, basta si Alessandro Volta, kung na-remember na nakadiscover.
Sige daw, ikwento mo daw ang paano niya na-discover yung electricity, kung maalala mo pa.
Wala akong kabalo, sir, pati kung kanusan yan na ano, pero ang nakadiscover na akong kaila.
Commercial sponsored by Chooks to Go, ang manok ng bayan. Yes talaga. Sige. And correct answer is modern era, 1800s na yan na-discover. How about flight? Kailan na-imbento yung mga airplanes? Modern era din yung answer dito. How about gunpowder? Gunpowder. Check natin yung mga answers ninyo. Renaissance. Ano pa? Kailan na-discover ang gunpowder? Kasi noong unang panahon, yung mga gamit na weapons is bow, swords, shields, di ba? Wala pang baril noon. So bago lang yan siya na-discover in regards sa ating timeline. Ang correct answer is medieval era. Sa late medieval era na siya na-discover. Sige, next. Heliocentric model. Ano ba itong heliocentric model? Di ba, if you can remember, before yung belief ng mga scientists, Earth daw ang center ng solar system. Pero may ilang mga scientists and philosophers na sabi sun daw yung center ng solar system, di ba? So, kailan nila ito nagawa na discovery? Bale, ang first nag-advocate nito si Copernicus and then followed up by Galileo, di ba? So 1500s, Renaissance era. How about imaginary numbers? Alam niyo ba yung imaginary numbers? Industrial. Bale, yung imaginary numbers doesn't exist in the real plane. Hindi mo siya makita sa number line. Ano ba yung mukha na number line? Bali sa left, negative, infinity. Tapos sa center, 0. Sa right, positive infinity. Diba? Yan man yung real number line. Ang imaginary numbers, hindi mo makita dyan. Well, to make the long story short, na-discover ang imaginary numbers, classical era. Sige, internal combustion. Kailan na-discover ang mga engines? Mga engines. Yung parang yung mga motor natin ngayon, kailan siya nilagyan ng mga nilalagyan ng gasolina? Kailan siya na-discover? Modern, sige daw. First na-discover yung external combustion. Ano ba yung external combustion? Ginagamitan siya ng coal, tapos yung power na nagpatakbo sa kanya is steam. Also known as steam engine yung external combustion. Ang external combustion na-discover noong industrial era, late industrial era hanggang modern era. So yung correct answer kung kailan na-discover ang internal combustion is modern era. Sige, maybe we have discussed a lot of this. No? If you want to know the answer, I will just post it later. Kasi marami-rami tapos medyo oras para sino yung nakain natin. The advancement of humankind is all thanks to the efforts of the scientists' discoveries based on scientific research. Ma-imagine nyo ba na kung kayo, nabuhay kayo sa ancient era, can you survive? Walang mga gadgets, mga cellphone, walang internet. Mahirap pa mag-umpisa ng apoy, di ba? Can you imagine how hard life was long time ago? And the prosperity that we are experiencing now is all thanks to the scientists who dedicated their lives in research. Okay, what is research? Research is a scientific process that involves investigation, careful gathering of data, and correct interpretation in order to nullify, complement, or add to existing knowledge. So let's break it down, no? Okay, let's break it down. Purposes of research is correct interpretation in order to nullify. Meron kasi mga misconceptions. Gaya no sa example natin kanina, earlier belief about the nature of the solar system is that the Earth is at the center of the solar system. But after careful and tedious examination, scientists have found out that the Earth is not the center, but it is the Sun, at the center of the solar system. So they have nullified the pre-existing misconception. Complement or add to existing knowledge, pag mayroong bagong discovery, kunwari, ang mga scientists naka-discover ng bagong element, so they add to existing known elements. They contribute to the existing knowledge, add existing knowledge na siya. So let us, review the scientific method. Everything starts with a problem. Ba? Ano yung next ng problem? Let's say you want to know ang problem, kunyari, ang problem natin ngayon, virus. Ano ang next problem para ma-solve yung problem? What is the next step in the scientific method? You know, yung sagot nila. Ibago nila. So problem next is gathering of observation. Sa research, also known as writing the related literature na ito. So pagka sinabing gathering of observation, studihan mo yung problem. You will read about certain things about the problem or you observe mo lang siya. Yan yung gathering observations. Next, based sa iyong observations, you will formulate hypothesis. What will happen, no? Yan yung hypothesis. It is an educated guess. After you formulate a hypothesis, you will test the hypothesis. So let's say about the virus, naka-develop ka ng vaccine. Ang hypothesis mo, the vaccine is effective. So the next step is you test the hypothesis if your hypothesis is correct. If your vaccine that you develop is truly effective. Yan na, experimentation. Next, sa experimentation, analyze results. Ang analysis of results sa ating research is chapter 4. Diyan na tayo papasok yung mga statistics. And after analyzing results, you make conclusions and generalizations. And after you make conclusions, babalik ka na naman sa problem. That is why research is cyclical. It's because pabalik-balik siya. Research starts with a problem and ends with a problem. Yan yung reason kung bakit cyclical ang research. It doesn't stop sa conclusion. Because there is a saying, the more you know, the more you do not know. Therefore, after you found out that your vaccine is effective, let's say, effective yung vaccine mo, may bago kang problem. How can you make the vaccine more affordable? Let's say, ganon yung next problem. Or kung yung result mo, the vaccine is not effective, balik ka na naman sa problem mong umpisa na find a solution to the problem. Pabalik-balik lang ang research. Right. Other definitions of research. Systematic, controlled, empirical, and critical investigation of hypothetical propositions about the presumed relations among natural phenomena. Yan. Other definitions of research. All in all of the definitions stated, there is a similarity. That research is a formal scientific procedure. Also, research uses old knowledge as basis, and research is meant to increase the knowledge and understanding or correct misconceptions on a specific field. Okay, we have already discussed the importance of research earlier, no? To discover new facts, to find answers to problems, improve, ano pa? Discover, decision making, satisfy a researcher's curiosity, find answers, to acquire better understanding, verify existing knowledge. Balik-balik lang siya. Right, let's proceed to types of research. Actually, marami pang mga types of research, but I just selected yung mga pinaka-important in your context as a high school students. So first is basic research, deals with formulation of new theories. And applied research means or deals with testing of known theories. So yan yung uh, difference nila. Basic new theories, applied testing of known theories. Next, we have types of research according to level of investigation. We have descriptive research, relationship of variables, and experimental research, effects of variables. Let's discuss this shortly. Ang example ng descriptive research, let's say, think of this scenario. The teacher wants to correlate whether the number of hours a student spends using gadgets uh, affects his grades. So let's say the longer the student uses his phone, his grade becomes declines. No? His grade declines. So that's the relationship between the number of hours spent using gadgets and his grade. Yan yung relationship na variables. Meanwhile, experimental research tackles the effects of variables on each other. Let's say we have an experiment stating the effect of fertilizer on the yield of plants. So ano ang mga variables niyan? We have our control variable, a plant na walang fertilizer. And we have our independent variable and then dependent variable. Yung dependent variable is yung yield ng plants, di ba? So experimental research deals with the effect of variables on each other. Malalaman natin sa pag-conduct ng experimental research kung effective ba ang fertilizer sa plants, sa specific plants natin. So that's the main difference. Ang descriptive research is relationship of variables. Meanwhile, ang experimental research, effects of variables. Okay, let's proceed to the next activity. So determine the purpose of research. Sulat nyo lang din sa scratch paper. We have a scenario. A farmer is experiencing a poor harvest. His concerned neighbor suggests that he use compost to improve the yield of his crops. The farmer heeds their advice but prudently uses a small plot of land at first to check whether their suggestions are correct. So, what is the purpose of research in this scenario? Ano yung mga purposes of research kanina? To improve lives, to discover new substances, etc., etc., to satisfy curiosity. Bakit? Ano ang purpose ng research sa scenario na ito? You know, type your answer sa chat box. Malaman natin. Sige, sige, answer.
Kasi, ano ba talaga yung sabi na
Pakiulit daw kay hindi marinig. What is the purpose of research with respect to the scenario earlier? So yung scenario is yung farmer mahina yung yield ng crops and in order to improve the yield of his crops, Sabi ng mga kapitbahay niya, paggamit siya ng compost, ano ang purpose ng research?
To
I-type mo na lang iha
or
kasi hindi marinig, putol-putol, baka mahina yung signal ninyo. I-type mo na lang para mabasa natin. Type mo sa chat box. To discover. Ano pa? Pagka sinabi kasing discover, parang wala lang. Gusto mo lang maka-discover. Yan yung purpose ng discover. To know the truth. Okay? Diba may problem yung farmer? Ano yung problem niya? Tama yung sagot nitong isa. To help the farmer with his problem. Diba yung farmer may problem? Ano yung problem niya? Sige daw, i-type niya sa chat box, ano yung problem ng farmer? Poor harvest. So, kasi mahina yung harvest niya, gusto ng mga kapitbahay niya makatulong. So, in order for him to have a good harvest, gusto nila na magamit siya ng compost. Ayan na yung purpose ng research. To solve the problem. Yeah, next example tayo. The IATF prohibits backriding or angkas on motorcycles except if there is a safety barrier installed. This rule, however, is unwelcome to the riding public due to claims that it might cause accidents rather than serve as protection. The Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers conducted a study regarding this matter and warns the government that the safety barriers interfere with the harmonious aerodynamics of a motorcycle and might indeed cause accidents. Question, what's the purpose of research in this scenario? To solve problem to rin ba? Ano na yung purpose ng research? To avoid accidents. Medyo gawin nating generalized yung answer natin para ano, what's the purpose of research? Sirit? The answer is to provide basis in decision making. Okay? To provide basis in decision making. Yan yung purpose ng research yan. Ano pa ba example ng to provide basis in decision making? Let's say pag na-discover na yung coronavirus vaccine, then the government will decide to buy the vaccine. It's also another basis for decision making. Again, next. Grades of the students of the STE program of General Santos City High School are declining recently. Many teachers suspect that it is caused by the students' increased usage of cellular device, specifically playing of Mobile Legends Bang Bang, that it interferes with their proper sleep and rest periods. In order to test this speculation, the STE teachers recommended the parents to strictly monitor their children when it is time to sleep to ensure that they are resting. Noticeable improvements were seen in the next grading period. Okay, question, what's the purpose of research in this scenario? Ano yung purpose ng research? So yung scenario, ang mga grade ng mga bata nagababa. Then the teacher suspect siguro sobrang gamit ng cellphone ito, hindi na natutulog yung mga estudyante. Kaya wala sa focus sa eskwela the next day, kaya bumababa yung grades. So what's the purpose of research in this scenario? Ano ba yung mga purposes of research natin kanina? Bale, ano yun? Discover new facts to find answers to problems? Is it improve existing techniques? Discover unrecognized substances? Discover pathways to known substances? To satisfy curiosity, to find answers, better understanding, clarify existing knowledge? Ano ba? Ano ba yung purpose of research doon? No? To find answers to problems pa rin. No? Kasi meron silang problem, bumababa yung grades ng mga estudyante. Pwede rin to provide solutions. To find answers, to provide solutions. Kasi yung problem, mababa yung grades ng mga estudyante. Dahil sa sobrang paggamit ng cellphone. Yan na yung answer sa question natin. Sige, next scenario. The effects of global warming have become very deadly in the recent years. Because of this, scientists all over the world are racing to find a new energy source that is clean, doesn't produce greenhouse gas and harmful waste as byproduct, safe, and is renewable. Hopefully, the answer will be found sooner rather than later, as climate change only worsens with the passage of time. Question, ano ang purpose ng research? Correct answer itong to prove theories. Pwede rin yung discover, pwede rin yung to find answers to problems. Actually, pwede yung kahit anong answer basta ma-reason out nyo bakit ganun, no? More important is your reason rather than the answer. Sige, next. One of the many still unanswered science questions is, how did life begin on Earth? The generally accepted theory on how the Earth was formed is a very fiery and gruesome process that would make life on the early planet Earth very difficult. This leads us to the question, how did life begin on Earth? Current scientific data suggests that the earliest forms of life were the most primitive single-celled organisms. But then again, what are the origins of those cells? A lot of attempts were made to answer this question and made significant progress, but there is still no answer that could fully satisfy the scrutiny of the scientific community. Ito na, what's the purpose of research? Actually, totoo ito, hindi pa na-discover yung kailan ba talaga nag-umpisa. Paano nag-umpisa yung life sa Earth? Yung mga prevalent theories, merong daw asteroid galing sa outer space. Tapos may mga bacteria daw yung asteroid. Pag impact sa Earth, ayun na, doon na nag-umpisa yung life. Pero medyo sketchy kasi yun na theory. Tapos sabi rin daw ng iba na mga si Adam, biblical theory naman yan sa'yo. Sa scientific lang tayo mag-focus. Bale, yung theory ng iba sa amino acids daw. Pero medyo ano din eh. So what's the purpose of research in this scenario? O kung sabihin mo naman cells, saan nagmula yung cells? Pwedeng to discover, pwedeng to find answers to questions, pwedeng to satisfy curiosity, di ba? Yan yung mga purpose ng research sa ganitong scenario. So, all in all, different scenarios have different purposes of research. So, kunyari, may ganitong scenario, nag-conduct sila ng research, iba yung reason sa another scenario na naman. Okay? Okay, to sum things up, in summary, research is a scientific process that involves investigation, careful gathering of data, and correct interpretation in order to nullify, complement, or add to existing knowledge. Research is important to advance human understanding, improve standards of living, etc. Okay, that's the end of my discussion. Can you share to me what have you learned today? Yung mga natutunan ninyo? What is research? Regards our topic, what is research? You can briefly turn on your microphone to ask for permission to speak if you want to answer. Okay, what did you learn? The purposes of research. Sige, ano pa? I hope na natuto din kayo kung what is research, the types of research, uh, the kinds of research, the purposes of research, the cycle of research, no? From problem to observation, hypothesis, testing hypothesis, and then after you test the hypothesis, analysis of results, then after analysis of results, conclusion, after conclusion, balik na naman sa problem. So that's the cycle. Okay, let's have a short quiz. Short quiz lang, mga 3 items. Ito yung questions, oh. Bale, you can write it in a sheet of paper, picturean ninyo yung papel, to send nyo sa akin. Briefly define research in your own words. In your opinion, why do we need to conduct research? Enumerate the types of research according to the level of investigation. I will upload my slides sa Facebook siguro or sa Discord. Para kung gusto niyo siya ma-access, pwede niyo siya buksan. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for listening, dear students, and see you in the next meetings.